Hey, welcome back to the channel. I'm Nate, the cycling lender. If you're new to the channel, I like to share everything going on cycling wise here on the Space Coast of Florida and beyond. In this video, we are going to be looking at a trail that's called the Tuttle Trail in Malabar, Florida, and also highlighting a section of it called the Malabar Woods area, which is actually an area that was developed in the early 80s that didn't finish up, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in the video. Our ride starts off here on Malabar Woods Boulevard, located in Malabar, Florida. This part of the trail is about 3/4 of a mile long. It was laid out for a housing development in the 1980s that ended up going broke. And it was about 13 years later, in 1993, it was purchased by Brevard County, and the land was turned into a nature preserve. And a little bit of the road is still used to access the Malabar Regional Park, but the rest of it is blocked from vehicle traffic, and it's just used for pedestrian and bicycle access for the nature reserve. And you'll see a part of that here in just a few minutes when we drive through the trailhead at the end of Malabar Woods Boulevard, and we're out in the park, which is where vehicles can drive through and so forth. Don't blink, you might miss me driving through the exit from Malabar Woods where it is blocked for oncoming traffic going through the trailhead into the open area with park. Oops, did you miss it? This has easily become one of my favorite rides. I would call it a go-to ride when I want to try to get some miles off the road. Just enjoy some nature, some quiet, some wildlife. On this particular ride, we saw some gopher turtles, we saw squirrels, and we even saw a snake. This portion of the trail that we are riding is the Tuttle Trail in Malabar, Florida. And this is one of those trails that might not look huge on paper, but it's got a lot more going on than you would expect. The trail itself is paved and runs about 2.5 miles one way. So it's not some epic endurance ride by itself, but what makes it cool is how it connects into a much larger trail system around Malabar. From here, you can tie into places like the Malabar Scrub East, Cameron Preserve, and Malabar Scrub West, and even work your way toward Turkey Creek if you want to stretch the ride out a little bit more. So in a way, this trail acts like the main hallway to a bunch of other little outdoor trails and different places that you can explore. The Tuttle Trail is also part of a bigger vision for Malabar. It's considered the northernmost piece of a proposed 22-mile trail ribbon through the area, which is pretty cool when you think about it. You're not just riding on a random paved path, you're riding a section of something that was designed to connect people to parks, preserves, neighborhoods, and some really beautiful old Florida habitat, and that's really what I like about it. You get a little bit of everything without having to overthink the ride. There's a paved trail, pine flatwoods, scrub habitat, canal views. There's boardwalk sections and a few side trails that make you kind of wonder where they go. And it's the kind of place where you can keep it casual, riding with a friend like we are, talking the whole way, and just enjoy being outside. Or if you are feeling a little bit more adventurous, you can use it as a launching point for much bigger adventure with some of the other trails that it leads to. One thing I like about trails like this is that they remind you you don't have to have a ride that's massive to be worth filming. Sometimes a short trail with a little personality like this beats a long, boring stretch of pavement all day long. And the Tuttle Trail is one of those connector trails that gives you options. You can ride it as a quick out and back, or you can use it as the starting point for something bigger through the Malabar Trail system. And there's something cool about riding through the scrub habitat in Florida. Sandy, rugged, and it just very much reminds me of like old Florida. It's a good reminder that not every ride needs to turn into a workout either. Some rides are just about moving, talking, hanging out with your buddies, looking around and letting the day breathe a little bit. And the boardwalk sections give the trail a nice change of pace. You go from pavement and pine to this little elevated section that make the ride feel more like an adventure than just your regular bike path. And I love when a trail gives you a little side quests. You're riding along and then suddenly there's another trail, another turn, another preserve, another, hey, I wonder where the heck we're going with this one. So for newer riders, this is a great trail because it's approachable, it's paved, it's not intimidating, and you can make the ride as short or as long as you want it to be. And for experienced riders, it's still fun because it gives you so many options. There's a big difference between riding through a place and actually noticing a place. So trails like this make it easier to slow down enough to see what's going on around you. And here comes that boardwalk that I was talking about. They just redid this, and if you've been out here before and haven't been back in the last 6 to 8 months, the wood actually still smells new. It's really cool. And what I don't have on this video is if you look to the east, to the west, as you're riding over it, that's to your left or to your right, there is just miles and miles of scrub jay. You can see the wooded area, you can see the preserve. It's such a cool little area. And some of the best parts of a ride, it's not in the mileage, right? It's the hanging out, it's the conversation, it's the random stops, it's the turns you didn't expect to take, it's the exploration. And I think Florida trails sometimes get overlooked because we don't have big climbs or mountain views, but what we do have is access. You get access to outside year round. You find these little pockets of nature and build a ride around them. And the more I ride around the Space Coast, the more I realize how many places like this are hiding in plain sight. You drive right past them all the time when you're in your car, and you never really notice them until you explore them on a bike. A trail is a good example of why I like riding with friends. Solo rides are fun. I love doing solo rides, but when you ride with someone else, the trail becomes part scenery and part conversation. And those are two of my favorite things, scenery and exploration. If you've ever ridden on the Tuttle Trail or Malabar Woods, let me know. Let me know what your experience has been, or let me know if you found any other cool routes out there that I might have overlooked. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe, like, comment, and support our channel as much as you can, because more support means that I'm able to do this more often and introduce you to more and more awesome parts of cycling here on the Space Coast and throughout Florida.